So, Maestro Antonini, welcome again to Zagreb. You've been here in 2020, as I remember, during the pandemic period. How did this collaboration start? How did this collaboration start with Maestro Avital and with this program? So you can pick up your microphone.
With Avi, we start to collaborate not with Giardino Armonico, but with the symphony orchestras. So I was proposed. I think Chicago was with Chicago Symphony, and for the first time when I went there, and they proposed to me to have Avi, and I was very curious. I knew him from the recordings, so it started in this way. And I have to say, before collaborating with Giardino, also we had other orchestra. We were in Berlin, we were in Tokyo, and we met really in different places in the world. And finally, we decided together to have a project like this, that also the recording of the CD and this program.
Gospodin Antonini istaknuo je da je suradnju sa Avijem Avitalom počeo putem dirigiranja simfonijskim orkestrima. Dakle, ako se dobro sjeća, bilo je to najprije u Chicagu. Kaže da su se susretali kasnije i u Berlinu i u drugim gradovima i zapravo da ga je upoznao najprije putem snimki i suradnji sa simfonijskim orkestrima, a tek onda su počeli surađivati zajedno sa ansamblom Giardino Armonico. So, Giardino Armonico, as I've read in one interview, you said that it was your dream to play with Giardino Armonico because they were one of the first early music groups that you encountered.
Yeah, I remember I was about 18 years old, 19 years old. I was a music student at the Music Academy in Jerusalem, and my roommate was a total Baroque nerd, and I wasn't. And one day he tells me there was a festival. Jerusalem Festival is the biggest festival that is going in Israel in spring. And he told me, you have to come with me tonight. There is a concert of this Giardino Armonico from Italy. Come with me. And it's like, no, I'm too tired. I don't care much about Baroque, no. He said, you have to come. I said, no, leave me alone. I'm too tired. Full day. No, you come with me now. All right. I went to the concert, and I sit there, and I just remember this group of people just coming on stage, and it was immediately kind of a fresh breeze. And they played Vivaldi, and they played other things like I've never heard before, with so much energy and with so much passion, and everything was like extreme and fast and contrasting. And I was really blown away at this concert. And I remember two thoughts that were installed in my head. One was, this is how I want to play music. And second, one day, I want to play with them.
Dakle, ja se odmah unaprijed ispričavam jer nisam simultani prevoditelj pa ne mogu zapamtiti apsolutno sve što je gospodin rekao, no moje pitanje je glasilo kada je zapravo došao interes za sviranjem sa Giardinom Armonicom, jer sam pročitao u jednom intervjuu da je istaknuo da mu je bio životni san zapravo svirati baš s tim ansamblom za ranu glazbu. Rekao je da je to bilo otprilike kada mu je bilo 18 godina na studiju, kada nije baš bio zainteresiran pretjerano za taj tip glazbe i da ga je cimer koji je bio vrlo entuzijastičan oko baroka zapravo nagovorio da odu na koncert i nakon toga je on spoznao koliko svježine i s koliko energije je zapravo Giardino Armonico predstavio glazbu, najviše talijanskog baroka, posebice Vivaldija, što ga je posebno oduševilo. So one more question now to you. So tonight we heard a lot of different pieces. Many of them were composed in 18th century, but we heard a 21st century piece. So you balance between contemporary and Baroque music in this program. However, you also play popular music, you play jazz sometimes. So mandolin is one of those instruments that kind of balances between different worlds. How do you manage to balance it? Do they inform each other, those worlds?
Absolutely, I think so. I mean, all kinds of music, all genres are, I would say, dialects of the same language. They are similar in the way that they evoke, they generate an artistic musical experience, just in little different ways, in different mechanism, in different again dialects, I guess. So I'm obviously fascinated by music in the broad sense of it, and there are some genres of music that I feel more connected to. I love Balkan music. I play a lot of Balkan music, play a lot of klezmer, some jazz, or Israeli jazz, or Middle Eastern jazz. And you know, I like to catch those nuances that make it typical of the genre. And another angle of it is the mandolin, the instrument that I play, that is like a chameleon, because the mandolin you find in classical music, of course, but also, well, I don't have to tell you, in folk music from here, in Irish music, in bluegrass, in America, in Indian music. You hear the mandolin in different styles, in Brazilian choro. So it's also the instrument and what it brings with it that allows me to be, I guess, flexible in the genres.
Dakle, mandolinu smo večeras čuli u različitim kontekstima, ponajviše onom baroknom u 18. stoljeću. Međutim, čuli smo i vrlo suvremen koncert Giovannija Solime na samome kraju, koji je donio sasvim drugčiji stil od onoga koji smo slušali tijekom najvećeg dijela večeri. Pa je moje bilo pitanje usmjereno i na to kako zapravo mandolina kao instrument se ponaša u različitim žanrovima i stilovima i kako maestro Avital zapravo pliva između tih stilova. Njegov odgovor je bio da zapravo mu se čini da su to sve narječja jednog jezika. I na taj način zapravo pristupa glazbi. Naravno, kažem, postoje neki žanrovi koji su mu možda draži od drugih, ali u svakom slučaju bavi se svima i posebno voli, istaknuje i glazbu ovih prostora Balkana. Spomenu da se mandolina koristi i u američkoj tradicijskoj glazbi, brazilskoj. Draga mu je izraelska tradicijska glazba u kojoj, dakle, kombinira mandolinu, svoj instrument sa različitim stilovima. So, we talked now about mandolin, but I have to ask about chalumeau that we heard this evening. So how did you come up with the idea of using chalumeau for Cum Dederit, the very famous alto aria of Nisi Dominus by Vivaldi?
Because chalumeau is an instrument, it's a quite limited instrument. It don't have so many notes. In fact, then it was developed in the clarinet. So, but this is really the ancestor of the clarinet. And it started to be used in the second half of 17th century, and then Vivaldi and Telemann especially, they use in a beautiful way, but not only Telemann and Vivaldi, and was often associated with vocal music. For example, in Vienna, in beginning of 18th century, we find many arias with a voice and with the soprano chalumeau imitating, also answering, making a dialogue with the voice. So since I adore this piece, the Cum Dederit, one incredible piece, so simple but so beautiful, I wanted to play with this chalumeau, and I found it better to play on the chalumeau instead of the recorder, because it really looks like can remind really a human voice.
U drugome dijelu koncerta čuli smo ariju Cum Dederit iz psalma Nisi Dominus Antonija Vivaldija, koje je maestro Antonini odsvirao na šalmaju, dakle jednom povijesnom instrumentu koji je zapravo preteča klarineta, što ste mogli, vjerujem, i primijetiti po njegovoj boji specifičnoj koju ima. Pitao sam ga zašto je izabrao baš taj instrument kako bi nam to predstavio. Njegov odgovor je glasio da je zapravo šalmaj bio dugo povezan s vokalnom glazbom i da se koristio vrlo često u arijama, naročito i u Beču početkom 18. stoljeća, kao instrument, kao obligato instrument koji je sudjelovao zapravo u pjevačkim dionicama i dijalogizirao s pjevačima u određenim situacijama. Kažu da je to instrument ograničenog opsega i da je zapravo mu se činilo vrlo prikladnim za ovu ariju koju on jako voli zapravo. So now we've been starting to talk about transcriptions, and I have to say, who came up with the transcription of Bach? Whose idea was it?
I guess it was my fault at this time, because you know, I played the mandolin and Bach didn't write even one note for the mandolin, but I love Bach, so you know. I played many of the concertos, especially for violin, because the mandolin and the violin, they are tuned in the same way. So it's taking music from the violin to the mandolin. In theory, it's more simple. And I love this concerto. It's a double concerto for violin and oboe, original. It has a longer story because the surviving version is actually for two keyboards. But anyway, violin and oboe, and I thought, okay, the mandolin will take the violin part, but I don't want to play it with oboe, because then it's it doesn't make any sense. Why should I? There gotta be a reason for this arrangement. And then I thought, the flute is a wind instrument, and it has the same kind of lightness. Giovanni likes to call them toy instruments.
We play toy instruments, I always say.
And yeah, and so
it was good to put together.
exactly, and we thought it would give it again an opportunity to hear a very famous concerto by Bach in a different way, with a different color, and that's what
you did there.
Exactly, that's what we tried at least, I hope.
Dakle, pitao sam kad smo već kod obrada, jer je Nisi Dominus bio obrada za šalmaj, tko je došao na ideju da se obradi Bachov koncert za mandolinu i blok flautu. Maestro Avital je istaknuo da je to njegova ideja, pardon, da je to zapravo njegova ideja i da je zapravo vrlo često i voli svirati Baha i da je svirao Bachove koncerte baš u obradi za mandolinu, zato što se mandolinu štima kao violinu. Pa je onda donekle jednostavnije transkribirati kompozicije za taj instrument. Koncert koji smo večeras čuli, prema tradiciji se navodi da su ga svirale violina i oboa, pa je on smatrao da bi on mogao preuzeti dionicu violine, a maestro Antonini da bi mogao preuzeti dionicu oboje. Međutim, kao što je maestro Antonini istaknuo, on smatra da su to instrumenti igračke s kojima oni zapravo izvode glazbu, pa su se ponadali da će zapravo dati nekakav novi zvuk, nekakvo novo zvučanje će podariti ovome koncertu. So I have to ask you, Maestro Antonini, since Giardino Armonico was established in 1980s, a lot of things have changed in historically informed performance practice, and this kind of music has become essential basically in concert halls. What we've witnessed in the last 30 to 40 years is inviting conductors like you to conduct symphony orchestras. So do you think that perception of early music has shifted during the era that since Giardino Armonico was established until now?
I would say yes, totally. In these years, in the 80s, in the 70s, the idea to play Baroque music, Renaissance music with period instruments and going back to look for the sources was completely new, was a sort of outsider situation. But big changes happen, especially, for example, when Karajan died and Berliner Philharmonic and Karajan were the symbol of the classical music in the most traditional way, great musician. Let's say 1 year after, Nikolaus Harnoncourt was invited to conduct Berliner Philharmonic. So it was really, in a way, Harnoncourt was the devil for Karajan. So slowly, during the years, the approach to the music, and not only to the Baroque music, but also to the music of 19th century, changed a lot. And I would say that I missed a bit the sense of the adventure we had in this, when we started. It was a discovery, and now I would say that this way to approach all music, it's in the system, I would say. And the problem sometimes is that also often the new generation, they follow the models, and Giardino Armonico became a model of sound. And this, okay, everybody has models, also we had our models, but then it's important to develop in a different way. That is much more difficult, I would say. But I would say also that this is a general problem of our time, because we are overwhelmed by models. For example, if we want to listen something, immediately we go on YouTube, we go wherever, and can listen what we want. From one side is very positive, from the other is very negative, because in a way the brains became a bit lazy, because there are so many offers. It's enough sometimes just to imitate. So I hope that can be a next step in developing the way to play this music with period instruments.
And try to find individuality in the whole thing. Od osnivanja ansambla Il Giardino Armonico 80. godina prošloga stoljeća, mnogo se toga promijenilo u pristupu baroknoj glazbi i sve više svjedočimo tome da se dirigente poput maestra Antoninija poziva da dirigiraju simfonijskim orkestrima, dakle da predstavljaju baroknu glazbu, glazbu klasicizma na neki dotad neviđen način. On kaže da je to počelo negdje otprilike 90-ih i velika promjena paradigme zapravo se dogodila smrću Herberta von Karajana, jer je godinu nakon Nikolaus Harnoncourt bio pozvan da dirigira Berlinskom filharmonijom. I tu se zapravo situacija potpuno promijenila i sve više i više su pozivani takvi dirigenti da predstavljaju baroknu glazbu. Ono što se danas događa jest da postoji jako puno modela i kaže da je zapravo mozak može postati vrlo lijen u trenutku kada imamo sve dostupno na različitim kanalima poput YouTube-a, gdje odemo u jednom trenutku i neku kompoziciju zapravo čujemo na 50 različitih načina i u tom pogledu nekako nam se nudi mnogo toga na pladnju, ali na nama je zapravo da izaberemo vlastiti nekakav pristup i da nađemo neku individualnost u svemu tome koja će nam zapravo onda, koja bi trebala predstaviti nekakav put prema budućnosti koja bi zapravo trebala ukazati što i kako treba dalje. So do you have any models in terms of mandolin music? Because obviously you play a lot of classical repertoire, you play a lot of contemporary music. Do you have any models in terms of musicians that you are influenced by?
I think the nice thing about mandolin is that there are, different mandolin players doing different genres of music. I think as a kid I didn't really have a figure that I could follow with the things that I like to do with classical music, and there was a blessing in a way, because I wasn't conditioned by any example. I could be really free to create my own way and to find it. Unlike maybe if I would be a pianist or a violinist, there are examples that you follow, trying to find your individual voice, but more or less in classical music there is a path already that you have to follow. For me it wasn't the case, and I like it. I also feel even now that I of course play concerts and so on, I still feel this freedom to reinvent myself with new projects every year and in this way.
Maestra Avitala pitao sam ima li on nekakvih uzora u pogledu glazbe, dakle nekoga za kim se mogao voditi i za čijim idejama se mogao voditi, i kaže da je zapravo to ljepota mandoline je bila u tome što ih nema mnogo i zapravo je mogao pronaći nekakav svoj vlastiti put i nekakvu individualnost baš upravo kroz istraživanje nekakvog svog pogleda na svijet i svog pogleda na repertoar. With this, I would like to thank you for tonight's concert and for your time. And I wish you a pleasant stay in Zagreb and a safe trip to where?
Cologne tomorrow, yes.
So you came from Korea to Cologne, to Zagreb and then Cologne.
Seoul yesterday, or the day before, Cologne, and then we go to London, and yes.
We survive.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.